What's up, guys? Ryan the Mighty Quinn here, the Cornerman _ MMA, mixed martial arts. We're going to talk some TUF 31, Chandler versus McGregor right now. Um, Obviously, everyone knows that Team Chandler is going for that clean sweep over Conor McGregor's prospects now, and it's coming out. Yes, everyone knows that it's veterans versus prospects, but I want to hone in on exactly what we're watching here, what we're learning. Don't Obviously, like MMA fans, don't let this slip on you. This is a great example of stuff that you talk about with other sports all the time you're into. But I remember when I first heard that it was, first of all, I heard it was prospects and veterans. I thought that was really cool. I thought they were going to mix the veterans with the prospects, and then the prospects can learn from the fighters, and the veterans had a chance to rebound, which they still do. But then when it was not veterans and prospects, but veterans versus prospects, I I I, I saw this going down that way. I remember thinking, "Ooh, which coach has which?" So I want to go through here, though. Let's go through here. Some of these prospective records, okay? And we're gonna get into, and then we're only gonna go through one veteran, and because I'll get into that in a minute. I know him well. He's a great fighter. All right, we have Rico DeSulio. His biggest fight, he lost on the Contender Series. He had a Bellator win. The Bellator prelims are usually ticket sellers, local ticket sellers. That's how I started with Bellator versus someone they're trying to push or their local ticket seller. They try to use their big name to get those guys on the card. Bellator, not as much anymore, but they used to be pretty common for Bellator to have losing fighters on their prelims. Okay, so then we have Mando Gutierrez. He's 7-2, and Contender Series lost his biggest appearance. Carlos Vera, 11-3, all regional shows. Never been on any weighted shows. Trevor Wells, 8-3, good record. 2 fights at Kombachi Global, fairly big show. The lightweights, you got Lee Hammond, that's one of McGregor's boys, 5-0. He's had solid opponents over there in Europe, aside from Cage Titans and Cage Warriors. I'm not really familiar with the European scene, to be honest with you. Nate Gentleman, he had one win on PFL undercard, and he's been pretty dominant in LFA, so regional territory. Aaron McKenzie, 11-1, 1-1 in Bellator. I'm pretty sure those were prelim fights. I didn't see him on the main card, and he's not there anymore. Landon Canones, 7-1. He had a draw. I actually saw that fight live, that Bellator card. So now you got what I'm getting at here. A lot of these guys, they had a little bit of a taste of the big show, but they weren't really there fighting bigger name opponents. Actually, I kind of skimmed through a lot of their opponents. I didn't even see any former UFC veterans on a lot of these guys. So it's not even really like they had that real push there, that world class push. Now, the person on Team Chandler I want to bring up was Kurt Holloway. Now, I traveled with him to Russia when we fought. He won, I lost. And this dude, he could box, got jiu-jitsu. This guy is dangerous. Now, obviously, he's had 2 appearances in the UFC, both were short notice, so that's 2 of his losses. He's 0-4 in the UFC. He's 0-1 in Strikeforce, so 0-5 on the main big shows. He's on another, but you see what I'm getting at here is he's fought on the big show. He's fought at this level, and that's the thing here. What you're seeing right now is the major gap between prospects and real UFC veterans. I'm not talking the undercard fighters, the O fights that they brought in on short notice, or this guy had a big following and they're kind of coming, they're going to give him a push, or like, I'm talking, these guys are seasoned veterans, even though they've had a quote unquote shabby UFC record against up and coming prospects. Now, I don't think I hope that this doesn't ruin these prospects. These are good fighters. I've seen Landon fight and train. I've never coached him, but I've seen him training. We've been in the same training room. That kid is tough. He's good. He's well coached. These are good fighters that are kind of just thrown a little bit too far into the fire right now. For you sports fans, everyone always says, "Oh, could the best could the best team in the nation in college beat the worst team in the NFL?" Well, you're seeing that right here. Clearly, it cannot. This is almost like the Pro Bowl or the Senior Bowl against the Detroit Lions. Sorry, Detroit Lions fans, but and like this is, you're seeing guys. The game is just too fast at this level, at the world class level, plain and simple. And these guys, they're not fighting other prospects to work their way up anymore. Some of these guys might have been protected along the way for a while. That happens a lot with prospects. These guys they have world class competition in their face, 2 and 3 steps ahead of them, and it's a big jump. And I hope fans take this into consideration when you know, when you're crapping on the lesser fighter, the quote unquote lesser fighters. Um, just appreciate what the world class level is in mixed martial arts, because you're seeing that versus what is going to be the world class level. I mean, I know I just said it. I really hope that the UFC it doesn't dispose of these up and comers. I hope they get another contender series shot or something along those lines, because these kids are good, man. They're going to be good, but right now they just got too much on their plate. And again, like I know, like, and not to defend Conor McGregor, but like Team Chandler, Michael Chandler, his job's kind of easy right now. These guys know how to fight. First of all, you're not really. It's really tough to teach anybody anything specific, like, to really develop their game over the 6 weeks they're there. Not even the 6 weeks of the camp. Some of these guys have 5 weeks for quote unquote camp. Some of them have a few days. So, but if they can, in this situation, if you can get them, if you could teach these guys one thing on your team, then you did a good job. So, um, but he really just has to keep them moving. You know, these are, like I said, seasoned veterans. Now, the prospects, on the other hand, there's that gap I'm talking about, that learning curve. McGregor probably should keep them up a little bit, how to manage in between rounds. That's probably the biggest thing for McGregor, is how do these guys manage situations? How do you relate to the inexperienced fighters? How to manage clock management situations, winning the rounds. You know, how do you do that? So that's really tough too. Plus, a lot of these guys, I'm sure a lot of them were in regional shows. I'm sure they fought all home. You know, they haven't traveled like the Kurt Hallbro, like I said. They've all been, sleeping in their own bed at night. Now you're thrown into isolation in Las Vegas, and you got to fight, some guy who's used to stuff like this. And it's really a battle for the prospects and Team McGregor. But anyway, that's what I got, guys. I just want people to take in consideration exactly what they're seeing here. You're seeing the the senior all stars of Division One versus the Montreal Expos, or like I said, the Senior Bowl versus the Detroit Tigers. You're seeing things like that right now. You know, it's really is crazy, the gap between the next generation and the generation now, even on the lower level. That's all I got, guys. Thank you.